All right, good morning. Welcome back here to Trader Minute. Great to have you aboard. Market's been open here for almost an hour, and it's a very interesting open. Market, the S&P's down about 11 points, or 10 points here. You can see what that looks like on an hourly chart of S&P futures. You need a magnifying glass to see it. Right? It's not a big move when it comes to the index and to what we have seen over the last while. But when you look at some other factors, the move looks a little bit bigger, especially if you come into something like an index watch, and you pull up something like the S&P 500. And you notice, okay, 270 decliners for 230 advancers. That's about what you'd expect. But they have the two. They have up here. We can't really see it, but a lot of stocks that are red are more red than the green stocks are green. Right, the stocks that are going up less than the stocks that are going down are going down. Right, for example, Bank of America. Right, Bank of America down about 2% here. Let me get the right ticker here. BAC, down about 2% here, and we have other stocks that are up, and they're up a little bit less than that, and obviously there are different ones all over the place, but it's just one of those mornings that's a little more negative than what the indexes suggest. Now, if you look at what's moving and how things are moving, it tells the story. It's a very, very simple story. You can see healthcare on top, real estate on top in terms of the leaders today, consumer staples, utilities, right? So this is a safety morning, and financials, industrials, technology, they're getting sold. We saw last night a strong push lower in futures here as the Asian markets were getting underway and ticking. And let me pull up my my tool to mark on the page here. But you can see right here, this is about 7 o'clock my time, so 9 o'clock Eastern till about midnight Eastern time. Right, that kind of 3-hour period, and this is when the Hang Seng, the Hong Kong index was falling, the Shanghai Composite was falling, and we saw this kind of this hard sell here, about 16 points. You'll notice that the move we've seen in futures this morning, it has been about the same. It's been about the same magnitude. It's been about the same pace, and velocity here with it. And, again, when we put these on the bigger picture, they're not big moves, right? But they're moves that suggest the market is selling on what? The market is selling on fears that there's no deal between the U.S. and China. Now, we've talked about, the meeting between, U.S. President Trump and the Chinese premier, that, hey, chances are we're not going to get a deal. Neither side have incentive for that. I don't think the market is pricing in a deal to a great degree. And so what I think we're seeing here is the market kind of pricing out a deal, basically saying, oh, okay, we're not going to get our deal, right? And again, it's not taking a huge move to kind of price out that deal. And that's because it's not priced in any major way. Fund managers with any sort of rational mentality are not looking at this G20 conference or the meeting between Trump and the Chinese premier and saying, oh, we're going to get a great deal. They're not looking at it that way. I know some of the media is, and some of the hype and all of that is, but when you talk about the big fund managers, they're not looking at it that way, right? How are the big fund managers looking at this market? They're looking at the market the same way that they looked at it a month ago. They're willing to buy dips. They're not willing to buy rips. Right? They're willing to get in on some nice dips, substantial dips, and they're just not going to be big buyers when stocks are up real big. Yeah, a little bit of momentum is going to carry them a little further, to the upside and to the downside. But that big money, they're not, they know what this summer is, right? This summer is a summer of certainty in terms of the environment. It's not uncertainty, right? It's uncertainty on how different things are going to play out. but it's pretty certain in terms of the, hey, you know what? There are a lot of different factors on the board. Stocks are inexpensive if they sell off. They're expensive if they're rallied, and we're going to continue to see dips bought, rips sold, and again, I think that's what we are seeing here this morning. Are just some of the Microsoft, some of the China U.S. deal rips, getting sold off a little bit. And you'll notice it's not creating a massive wave in the market. We still have plenty of stocks in the green, and we'll continue to see that here. Now for the challenge, we have one stock. I thought it was going to signal. I just pulled up my final scan, and it's not signaled yet. And it looks like it's only because of the morning parameters. But Chipotle Mexican Grill. This is one that